Guys, finally figured out how to get this thing working. Had a little bit of a technical issue. Yeah, so let's get started. Okay, I see guys all come in. Let me just do a quick check on Twitter to see if this is actually working. This camera's really close to me. I don't know how to fix it. All right, I think this is probably the best I can do. All right, yeah, internet is hard. All right, so let's jump straight to the AMA, or actually, as people pointed out, I should call it more of a video streaming than an AMA. I will talk about a few things I want to talk about first, mostly current issues, and I will try to do this every month or so, but don't hold me to it. So let me see where I did prepare a little script for this. All right, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is the delisting. So there's a lot of questions and misconception about delisting. So number one, delisting has to be done. So we got to understand that when we list a project, we go for a certain number of criteria, and over time, certain projects may fall below that standard. And when they do, we have to delist. So the standard is pretty clear, actually. So from I wrote an article about Binance listing tips on LinkedIn. It's been there for a year and a half, and I've updated it over, I don't know, 5-10 times. So there's some very simple criteria. If you have a large user base, that means people are using your service or product. Then you have value, so you have utility value. That's the easiest thing to judge if a project has value. So that's very apparent. And if you don't have a large number of users, at least we want to see if you have a product. To have a large number of users, you gotta have a product. So, and then after, if you don't even have a product, and we look at the time span, right? So if it's after a long time since your ICO, you still don't have a product, that's not a good thing. We do look at team of founders and how active the development is and how the team is behaving, etc. So there's a number of other factors we look at. So one of the tricky parts is we try to maintain active communication with all the project teams, and it's usually a very bad sign when they don't respond to us. So it's basically not very it's not beneficial to not respond to our inquiries about statuses. What we don't do is we don't give early notices for delisting. So for example, we don't give like 3 warnings, first warning, second warning, third warning, because when we do that, the project team will have much earlier notice on when they will get delisted. And some of the ethical teams may even short their own coins. So they will dump their own coins first. So we keep very tight control over the information flow. And this is why, like at the time of delisting announcements, you see a very sharp drop in price. But before that, I think you guys can see that there's no change in price. That means we actually do a very good job of keeping the information confidential. We prevent inside information from going out or unfair information from going out. So basically, there's no early notice to the project teams. So to most of the project teams, you will come as a surprise. Or at least, especially some of the arrogant ones. We do realize in full that by delisting coins, we actually hurt ourselves as well. So that is very well known to us. Basically, the projects have to defend themselves. Most projects will go on with or without us. The delisting will hurt the price in the short term. Longer term is the project should be defined. The coin value should be defined by how well the project's doing. But short term, we do have an impact on price, and also we hurt some of our users who hold that coin. And almost all the projects will fight back. They will explain why our decision was wrong, why our process was broken, etc. And typically, given that they already heard at that stage, we don't really get into argument or debate. We just take the heat, and we don't really respond. So but we do take some hit from delisting coins, but basically it has to be done. So I just want to get that out there so that people understand how the process works. And we're fully aware every time we do that, it hurts ourselves as well, but it basically has to be done. Let me move on to Launchpad for a little bit. So let me explain the concept and the thought process behind Launchpad, and so that this way people understand what our goals are and what we're trying to do with Launchpad. So basically, Launchpad is a place where we want to help projects, we want to help good projects raise money, but it's not only about raising money. We want to help them raise awareness and exposure. So every time that a project goes through Launchpad, many people know about the project. Some projects are well known. For example, BitTorrent, everybody knows what it is. But for some of the other projects we're putting through Launchpad, Fetch, or other projects in the future, many people don't know about them. So the raise of awareness and exposure and also credibility is a very strong thing for any project. And we also help them raise liquidity, usually after the Launchpad initial sale. If nothing goes unexpected, they have a very high chance of getting listed on Binance. It's not guaranteed, but most projects will have a pretty good chance. So let me talk about the structure of the Launchpad projects. The way we do it is basically we have a choice, right? So we can try to advise the project to keep the initial sales price low. We think that's a good thing. Do you want it low or high? Most people will choose say we want the initial sales price to be low. When the initial sales price is low, we necessarily generate very high demand. So basically, by default, by design, a large number of people will not be able to grab it. So it is a rush sale type of event. And we don't live in a perfect world. We don't know how to price it perfectly so that everybody gets a piece, and the guys who doesn't want it doesn't get it. So we want there to be higher demand than supply at the initial sales stage. And this will also help with the listing. When that coin is listed later on, the high demand will help drive the price even higher, hopefully. So that's the structure we choose for. And a number of people say, well, now the rush sale is not too fair to everybody. But it is fair that if you have a good internet connection, you can reach our servers quickly, then you have a better chance. There's a number of other ways we could do it, and we have done it in the past, even with our own token sale. We could give a certain allocation to large BNB holders. We can do it based on allocation. That basically favors the whales even more. Or we could say that everybody gets a little bit. Everybody gets $1 worth of allocation. But that's not interesting to most people. So that's a balance somewhere to be achieved. And the current design is the current design. And we most likely will continue with this design for a few times, and then look at how to potentially improve it from a structure point of view. But right now, we try to keep the initial sales price low, or we try to convince the projects to keep the initial price low and the demand high, and it is a rush sale. So basically it's first come, first serve. It is fair. That's just how the world works, and there's a bit of luck involved. If you have a slower internet connection, couldn't get it, that is what it is, really. So there's a few misconceptions around Launchpad I want to clear up as well. Some people actually think that we try to reserve for our friends or for ourselves, and I can honestly tell you there's really no need. If we want certain allocations out of certain projects, we will just go to the project owners directly, and we will almost always get it. So there's really no need for us to compete with our users on the public sale. The public sale is really just for public sale. It's very simple. And if we want to give it to a number of whales, like the large BNB holders, we could do that as well without affecting the public sale. So we don't do that. In the future, if we move to a BNB allocation model, so you get a certain allocation based on the number of BNB you hold. That may favor the whales. That may favor the whales traders. So we may do that in the future. We may not. We haven't decided yet. Overall, the goal is to help good projects and bring people to them and help the projects build the ecosystem. So again, I still strongly believe that it's the entrepreneurs that will build this ecosystem, and we want to do everything that we can to help them. So now with the Launchpad, and this is a great way for them to raise funds, raise awareness, and raise liquidity, and get them started. So just to let you guys know, we will announce the next Launchpad project today. I'll wait for the announcement, but that project will be announced today. I think some of the comments from Twitter ask how often do we do it. I think roughly 1 to 2 a month. I don't know. It's not so much a set schedule, but we want to find good projects. As soon as we can find good projects, we will do it. So right now, there's given the frequency that we're doing, there's enough projects in the pipeline. So on that, let me talk a little bit about the negative criticisms we've been facing a little bit. So I can honestly say I personally and we Binance as a team take criticism pretty well, especially constructive criticism. We're okay with that. We're probably one of the exchanges that interact with our community the most. So I'll talk a little bit about that later. And I do spend quite a lot of time with our Twitter, especially the Twitter communities, because that's the only platform I use right now. Let me see. So, but even then, I don't respond to every message. So sometimes I feel hopeless when somebody says, "Hey, CZ, you got to respond to this negative message." I do respond to our users very actively, but I don't respond to negativity. So I like positive energy. I only associate myself and my team with a positive energy. So for the guys who have negativity, basically in a free world, nobody's forcing them to use us. I strongly believe it's more beneficial to focus on making something yourselves than focusing on saying negative things about other people. And also, honestly, I do have more followers than most of the guys who are saying negative stuff about us. And if I interact with them, I actually give them a lot more exposure than I want to. So I don't do that either. And I basically don't. And the other thing is, my time is probably more expensive than those other guys. So I don't waste my time on that. And time I view as the most expensive resource I have. So the haters gonna hate, and they're probably gonna spend their life hating, and we're gonna spend our life building meaningful things. So that's my philosophy. So in terms of interacting with the community, so Binance by far has the highest community engagement among our peers, I'm pretty sure. And we're also the first exchange to sort of formally introduce every update every 2 hours during outages. And I see a number of other exchanges copying that, which is really good. Now this way, now the users are much more informed during outages or technical difficulties. We're the first exchange to institute one-day response for 99% of our tickets. So if you submit a support ticket, you will likely get some kind of response. The issue may not be resolved within that period, but at least you will get a response. And I think again, a number of exchanges have copied us on that, and that has improved the service of the entire industry, which is good. So we're also one of the very few exchanges that do help desk on Twitter. So we have a help desk account, and that they're active and actually respond to people on Twitter. We're one of the most active marketing teams. We do all kind of events, offline and online, meetups, online trading events, etc. Luckily, we have one of the most supportive communities. We have a large number of Binance Angels. The Binance Angels are volunteers. So they get paid. They work because they like us and they believe in our mission. We have many local meetups organized by our Binance Angels. They are more spread out than us. I think I'm probably one of the most engaging CEOs in this space, and I will try to continue to do so. And also we're the first exchange to do exchange-based gas distributions, airdrops, etc. So I think that also changed for the industry quite a bit. Moving on. So I want to talk a little bit about the Binance BNB price. So this is probably an interesting topic for most of you guys, but I'm not going to make any predictions on what the price is going to be. So very luckily, we climbed to the top 8, top 9 among all crypto coins. We're probably the number 1 token, the ERC token, if you don't count the stable coins, well, USDT really. So a number of guys have written about how to price Binance coin. Andrew Kang wrote a number of articles and a number of tweets about it. He knows about our model in depth. Gautam Chugani also wrote a number of tweets, a number of articles about how to price Binance Coin. So thanks to those guys. Alex Saunders of Crypto Nuggets also released a number of videos, very detailed videos explaining about BNB. Crypto Lark in the early days had a number of videos. Even Box Mining Michael has a number of videos. So I recommend you guys to look at those. But fundamentally, it's very difficult to come up with a mathematical model for a cryptocurrency. So let me take a step back and say, okay, how do you price Bitcoin? So that's a pretty tricky thing to do. I have not seen a mathematical formula that can handle or accurately predict Bitcoin price, or even the fundamental calculating the fundamental value of it. Mainly because it's a utility token, and so far as our species, as humans, we have not figured out a mathematical formula for utility tokens. There are various tokens out there. There's some models out there. Actually, I forgot to mention, Multicoin has a really good report, in-depth report about Binance Coin. And Multicoin also had a few attempts on how to value utility tokens. And but basically, it's very hard to calculate. And also, even though the blockchain is public, there's a lot of data that's not authoritative. For example, how many users are there using BTC or using Bitcoin? We don't know. We can calculate how many addresses there are and how many addresses have coins on them, but we don't know how many people that is. So one person can hold a lot of addresses, etc. So it's very so basically fundamentally it's kind of impossible to value a utility token, and given that difficulty, that's where the exchanges come in. So on the exchange is used for price discovery based on supply and demand, and but the way the exchange works is it's not always rational. So there's a lot of it's basically based on mass psychology, and very often mass psychology overreacts. So sometimes it's too high, sometimes it's too low. So I think BNB is in a very similar category. So BNB is not a security. It is a utility token. There's so many places you can use BNB. I will not iterate all of them, but you can use it to buy airplane tickets, hotels, use it for collateral for loans. You can buy a number of things with it. So BNB is really, we focus on increasing the utility of BNB. So this is also why it's really hard to calculate the value using a formula. But the exchange does have the price discovery mechanism for it, and the current price is the current price. Whether it's undervalued or overvalued, we don't know. Well, everybody have a different opinion. I think right now the BNB token probably has more use cases than most other coins out there, and we continue to build, and we continue to add more use cases, and we continue to expand the BNB ecosystem, and we will work very hard at it. I just got a message before I came onto this live video stream that BNB against BTC is probably at an all-time high again. So we'll continue to push forward. And speaking of BNB, I want to BNB will very soon become a native token on the Binance chain, and the Binance chain's main application is the Binance DEX. So let me talk about the Binance DEX a little bit. The Binance DEX, the Binance chain is a very fast blockchain. It's 1 second blocks. One block is final. So basically, we will be able to achieve 1 second transactions. And I think it will have some really interesting implications. There is a lot of misinformation about Binance chain or Binance DEX to the point where people are even debating whether we could call it a DEX or not. So let me correct that as well. So the 11 nodes are for the testnet. Almost all the information we have released are regarding the testnet, not the full mainnet. So the node governance has yet to be decided for the mainnet, and we are more focused on speed and performance for this testnet. And the exact mainnet launch date is still to be decided. We want to see how the progress of the testnet works. If we couldn't find any bugs, if everything is very solid, very stable on the testnet, then we're going to launch it early. If not, we have flexibility to fully test it and then launch the mainnet. So how many nodes are there going to be on the mainnet? Who's going to run them? we don't know yet. We haven't really decided that part. We will come to that when we actually are ready to launch the mainnet. But the current technical model allows any number of nodes, any number of people to run them. This technically is a fully decentralized exchange architecture. So technical wise, I don't think there's anything that's centralized about it. So some guys are really bent out of shape about us calling it DEX, and I think those guys will probably continue to be bent out of shape. Because I think their definition of a DEX may be different from ours, which is fine. But we don't really care what the definition is. We really want to care about how make it usable for people. So we want people to be able to use it. So so the Binance coin will migrate to the Binance Chain as a native coin. We are also encouraging other ERC20 projects or ERC20 tokens to migrate to Binance Chain. There are many benefits for doing that. Number one, Binance Chain is a faster chain. You will be less congested. You'll be cheaper to send and receive tokens. So we are encouraging people to move to Binance Chain. And it's super easy to create a token on Binance Chain. For those people who tried it, basically you just apply a few parameters. You give a project name, number of decimals, and some parameters, and boom, you have your token. And there's no smart contract program. It's more secure. There's less room for bugs, etc. So we are highly encouraging other tokens to migrate. So basically, if you run a ERC20 token only for the ERC20 token, you're not using the smart contract for any other thing, then migrating to Binance Chain makes total sense. We will reduce the fees for issued tokens and even for listing for the initial coins. Basically, we will subsidize some of those coins to move to the Binance Chain. And there are other many strong benefits for moving to the Binance Chain. Once you move to the Binance Chain, you will get Binance as a partner. We will help you to do marketing. So we will get the Binance marketing engine working for you. We'll help you reach our audience, which is a large audience and very active as well. You can associate your brand with our brand credibility. You become a Binance long-term partner, and early projects will get a disproportionate amounts of benefits because we will spend time to help the early projects that migrate to Binance Chain. So start early. I can also tell you guys that there's about 8 projects already confirmed for migrating to Binance Chain from ERC20. So these are 8 projects that already have market caps that are already trading on Binance.com. So these are not small projects, and they will migrate to Binance Chain. I think just giving these 8 projects, there will be significant value moving on the Binance Chain. So that's already happening, and we're inviting more to join. There are many other projects who are not listed on Binance.com yet, and we will ask them to consider moving to Binance Chain. So, and also, if you issue a token on Binance Chain, you will get priority consideration for Launchpad and priority consideration for Binance.com listing reviews. We do not guarantee you will get them, but you will be considered. You will be reviewed at a higher priority than if you're not using the Binance Chain to issue a token. So we will fully leverage our influence to help people move. So, and if you're using the Binance DEX or the Binance Chain to issue a token, it will be much easier for us to add your token to our wallet because there's basically no additional development work to be done. You will just be ready. So a couple other announcements. We are running a bounty program up to $10,000 per bug for the Binance Chain in the testnet environment. So if you find a bug, we have a bug bounty program already, and that's paid in BNB, of course. So please do test it, and if you find a bug, report it. If you want to know the more detailed information about that, you can look at the bug crowd. We have that campaign going on there. In 2 days, we're going to start a trading competition, a simulated trading competition. You'll be trading testnet coins. But the winner will win up to 100,000. We're giving away $100,000 equivalent in BNB as real price. So there is real money to be won, and there's really not a whole lot of cost other than playing with it. We want to use that to flush out any potential issues with the system so that we can release the DEX sooner. So that's all the topic I want to discuss. So that's the Binance DEX, the BNB price, the community engagement, Launchpad, and also the delisting process. I'll move over to some of the Twitter questions here. So let me see, where are those questions? So again, let me look over those Twitter questions and then just go through them one by one. I think the first one's from McCoy. Binance DEX suggests Binance supports decentralization. Many other factors do as well. Given Binance's popularity and influence, assuming crypto reaches its ambition and becomes accepted generally, how does Binance avoid becoming the central bank, aka not centralized? Okay, so I think that question is quite interesting. We don't really decide what we become or whether we become a central bank or not. Right now, today, very soon, we're going to provide both services. We're going to be a centralized exchange. We're also going to be a decentralized on-chain exchange. And we help with the development of that together with our core community. So the Binance DEX is actually not developed fully all by us. There's a lot of community contribution to it. And whichever one gets more popular will be the one more popular. So we also have the Trust Wallet, which is a totally decentralized wallet structure. So you can use that as a wallet. We have a native Binance DEX wallet as well. That's web-based. So we don't really decide whether we become centralized or not. The market decides. The next question is from Lucas Bazowski. How do you incentivize the integrity of the network so the validators behave reasonably? So the current governance structure in place, it's a voting structure among the validators. If any validator is not behaving properly, the other ones can kick them out. There's a minimum threshold for that to happen, but it's quite easy for that to happen. When do you aim to launch the Binance main chain? From Crypto Batsman. We don't know yet. That depends on how the current testing progress goes. We'll see what happens. What's your goal in terms? So the next question is also from Crypto Batsman. What's your goal in terms of volume and monthly active users on the DEX short term? So again, I don't really know what the goal is. So we don't really set a goal. Say, I don't know, it's X number of users, or X amount of trading volume. I think basically the ultimate goal is to have the DEX being more popular than all the centralized exchanges. So that's the ultimate goal for DEX. But at the same time, we will continue to push centralized exchanges in terms of features and usability as well. So we'll see how that evolves. We support both developments. And I think when the technology gets to a certain point, DEX will become popular. Will tokens who switch to Binance Chain get free, cheaper listing fees? This is also from all of those questions are from Crypto's Batsman. So initially, I think the first few projects we will grandfather them in, and we'll give them. We basically will reimburse the fees onto the network. And so yes, but later on, it depends on how many projects we get on the Binance Chain. Again, it's demand and supply driven. If the demand is high, we will reduce the incentives. Will tokens will tokens who switch to Binance Chain get listed on Binance centralized exchange or the DEX? So I think I answered that already. They will get priority consideration. So the next one is from MBG Buzzer. What model of listing will be on DEX? Only 100K or 100K plus voting of validators, where payments does not guarantee listing. So there will be a fee. The 100K is just a number I threw out there. We are really not sure we're going to go with that number, to be honest. But again, any number I say is going to be broadcasted, and people are really bent out of shape on that number. It will be that number plus vote. It will be a number in terms of listing fee plus voting. So the validators have to vote. So basically, the current mechanism that's designed is you have to apply. When you apply, you pay for a very small fee. And then when the validators vote and pass, and then now you can decide to pay the real fee and then get listed, or you can decide not to pay the fee and not listed. So it's really a free market. If you think the fee is too high, then don't pay and don't list. The next question is: will validators on Binance Chain be required to stake BNB in order to process DEX trades, or will it be delegated stake based? Is there a rough estimate of how many validators there will be? This is from Multicoin Capital. Right now, the current design is the validators, if they run it, they don't have to stake BNB, but that might change at any time. So we haven't really thought about the governance process of the validators. We just want to get the network working first, and then we'll worry about. I think the governance aspect of the validators is simple to do. Many people, that's a solved problem. Many people have different solutions. That's more of a business design instead of a technical design. So the current priority is all to make sure the technology works. So the next question is also from Multicoin Capital. Can you provide details? Can you provide any details on Binance Chain gateways, on-ramps for depositing non-Binance Chain asset onto DEX? Will you allow third-party gateways to issue PEG tokens on DEX besides Binance.com itself? So I think the first step. So I think many people, many people who played with our testnet have the misconception that Binance Chain is only for PEG tokens. That is not true. Our aim is actually to just to have more native tokens issued on Binance Chain. But initially, we will have some PEG. We will have some PEG tokens, like especially the stable coins and other major currencies. We don't have to be the only party to peg them. So Binance.com may provide the pegging facility ourselves, but we don't have to be the only ones. Anyone can provide pegging facilities but we want to make sure the pegging is done in a much more transparent fashion. So ideally, we want to see where there is a address which holds the pegged tokens or pegged coins. For example, if someone wants to peg BTC. It should be a very simple mechanism where there's one address which holds the BTC. Everybody can view it, and there should be an order book with a buy order of that full amount, a 1-to-1 ratio, so that when people want to convert back, they can convert right away. And we want to make sure that the full liquidity is there. So as long as other people can guarantee can do the same process, being transparent and do the pegging, we're fully for it. The next two questions are on the delisting. What exactly motivated the recent delisting from H3X Mind? I think I explained this before. So the next question is, what is the V label worth to Binance? If they give this project's later become delisted, it can be at any. Okay. So basically, the V label on Binance Info is it basically means that the information on Binance Info is verified by the project team itself. So Binance Info is a place where communities can supply information about coins. So we're just providing the platform. We don't actually provide the whole information. Whereas the V label just means that the projects actually verify the information themselves. So that's what the V labels mean. It does not mean we endorse or not endorse the project in any way. And the V label does not affect our decision to list or delist the tokens later on. So that's the V label. Launchpad, do you choose first? Okay, why do you choose first come first serve? From Christian Nguyen. So again, I think I explained that already. Binance Launchpad introduced new projects users in March. So from a Reno BTC, Reno SBTC. So the next Launchpad project will be announced later today. Yes, we're doing another one in March. How does Binance plan to expand the Launchpad from Taurus Crypto? So basically, we look for good projects as long as there are good projects coming on to Binance to Launchpad. So this application process for Launchpad is public. If you go to the Binance website and get to the Launchpad section, you can apply. As long as they're good projects, we will do them. But we don't want to overly do them if they're not good projects. The next question is on BCF. So at Binance BTF recently made donations for ALS and is doing great work in Africa. What types of projects is Binance Charity Foundation most interested in? How will Binance Chain and BCF interplay? From Regano ESQ. So first, the BCF team will be doing an AMA on March 18th. So please do join that one as well. But in general, Binance Charity Foundation is more of a platform, so we don't really choose. We don't really have a specialty on one type of charity work. We want to support all charity work that are done transparently, that are tracked on the blockchain. So that's our strong mandate. With all the charity needs to be done on the blockchain. So the Binance Charity Foundation, the platform, will support a number of different charity work. So basically, what we call different charity programs. So over time, we'll add more to it. How much does so the same question from Taurus Crypto? How much does Binance plan to pledge towards philanthropy in 2019? We don't have a set number. Again, we got to find good philanthropy projects that are willing, that are crypto compatible. That goes to the extent of teaching the end beneficiaries about crypto and are able to track the entire process through the blockchain. When we find those kind of projects, we're happy to donate. And also we're not just donating ourselves. We are actually donating. We're actually asking our other partners to donate with us. So right now we actually have quite a bit of donations in the bank, or in the bank sort of concept that we're waiting to give out. But we just got to find good projects. The next question from Alex Jeffes. Okay, so how often you often talk about how you met your crypto buddies through poker games? Do you still play Texas Holdem? Do you see a lot of similarities between trading and poker skills? When do we organize Binance charity poker tournaments only for BNB holders? From Alex. Yeah, so I used to play poker quite a bit a few years ago, but I stopped completely. I haven't played for like 2 or 3 years, other than some very casual games. I'm a terrible player at Texas Holdem, so I generally lose, and I'm not patient enough. That's also I think that's also what made me a terrible trader. So I don't trade either. I think poker and trading are similar. You got to have a lot of patience. You got to control your behavior. You got to control your timing. You can't have the wrong behavior you can't have the right behavior at the wrong time. That will not work. So yeah, so basically I don't play poker now, and we don't have any plans to organize poker tournaments. I think those things are very time consuming. I think for Binance Charity, they're more efficient things for them to organize. So nothing on the plan right now. For Labs, what is your investment thesis at Labs, and how is that influencing S2 of season 2 of Incubator, especially within the new Lagos chapter? Will you be increasing focus on emerging markets or not? This is from a DS Talk Exchange. So yes, we are actually expanding Labs quite significantly around the world. So the second season of Incubator, we actually do incubators from 5 different locations and bring them together in one place towards the end. So it does require quite a bit more effort, but we are doing that around the world. Our investment thesis is quite simple. It's anything that helps this ecosystem grow. So anything that helps the blockchain ecosystem grow. So we mostly, so my word for Binance Labs is really more infrastructure impact investments. So anything that improves the infrastructure, faster blockchains, better wallets, more secure wallets, payments, e-commerce, any of those fundamental things, we will invest in. So it's very broad, but we look at each specific project. General Binance questions. What are the biggest challenges ahead of Binance this year? From Natasha. I think basically we face challenges all the time. There's so many challenges right now. I think basically, but for Binance this year, most of the challenge is internal. We need to focus more internal on how we improve our internal management, internal organization, internal communication. The team's grown to a size where we are facing some of those issues. But luckily everyone's very motivated. So we overcome those issues by pure passion. Hey CZ, what is the one thing you feel Binance can improve upon? From Nubu Pragu. I think as I just said, I think Binance internal communications can be improved upon. Right now, we have so many projects going on. At any given time, one person may not know about what's going on in other parts of the organization, especially given that we're so decentralized. So I'm hoping to find ways to improve in that area. What's the aim for Binance in 5 years? I think I talked about that before. From Jakan 786. We basically want to be the infrastructure services provider in providing a few infrastructure services in this space. So we have a good exchange. Hopefully, we'll have a good DEX, and then we have a good wallet, and hopefully, we'll grow that as well. So we want to provide a few infrastructure services in this area. Next question from Binance states that the team's very passionate and a big source of the success of the company. Are you currently accepting interns around the world from Mongolia, Asia? Yes, we are accepting interns around the world. So the best place to apply for a job is through the Binance.com homepage. There's a career or jobs link at the bottom, at the top. And that's the best way to apply. When you apply that way, your resume and your application gets into the system. A lot of people message me directly, but it's kind of hard for me to get your resume into the system that way. So yes, we are hiring in almost every team, every department, but we do have a small team and we grow very slowly. That's intentional. So don't get sometimes some teams don't have allocations. So it changes from day to day. So don't get upset if you don't get accepted. How do you focus on so many areas at once? Every area, exchange, OTC, Launchpad, etc., is a different business unit with different strategies. How do you make sure that everything is on track and aligned towards one goal and vision? This is from AR Efray. Get it? Yes, I agree. I think basically we're focused on too many directions. Well, actually, we have too many initiatives going on. I actually want to focus on less. But I think right now most of the initiatives are complementary, and we only start a new initiative, a new project when we have the good person to lead it. So when we have a good team. So far each team is doing quite well because the teams are relatively independent and relatively self-sufficient. But overall, I think for me, I personally don't get involved in a lot of the initiatives we have now. So I actually don't know what's going on in all of Binance. I do have a high level of understanding, but on a day-to-day basis, the team just carries on with it. So general question for CZ. Do you feel that major retail investment in crypto is crucial for the necessary liquidity required for mass adoption? From Mike P. Guitar. So yes, I think basically major retail investment would be good for the Binance, for the crypto adoption. I think that's key. But it may or may not be the only one that's needed. For example, in 2017, the crypto adoption increased because of fundraising activities. Some of them may not be fully healthy, but that's what drove the adoption in 2017. What's going to be the next killer app? I don't know. But I think retail adoption is important. From LivePay, globally, what can we do to help mass adoption? So this is also related to mass adoption. Yeah, so I don't know what the next killer app is. So if you asked me 2 years ago what the next killer app is, I would not have said fundraising. We'll see. We just got to be ready when it happens. From Crypto Batman again, what are your interests besides crypto? I read a lot of books, so I listen and read to books, Twitter is kind of my hobby. I spend a lot of time on Twitter, so usually more than an hour a day, and multiple times a day. I do enjoy. I don't watch movies that often. When everybody recommends me a movie, I do watch it. I watched Battle Angels recently, and it was great. I loved it. I think it's a great movie. What are your favorite books? From Godzilla on the live chat. If you look at I did a podcast with Anthony Pomp, and I recommended 3 books. So you should check the Twitter on that. So the last AMA, you mentioned that you'll be interested in a repo partnership becoming the X-Rapid exchange. So what's the current? So again, I don't really comment on commercial discussions. I said last time that we don't have anything active going on, but we're definitely not against becoming a X-Rapid partner, but I don't know what the priorities is. That's that. On Jersey, why the so high trading fees on Binance Jersey? So the fees actually not put in by us. The trading fees are very, very low. The deposit and withdrawal fees are high. That's based on our partners, our banking partner or the fiat channel partner. They charge a fee. We've been working with them, and we also want to add more payment channels so that when there are more channels, the price will come down. When will fiat deposit and withdrawal be enabled on Binance Jersey? Do you have problems with banks? Did you solve the problems? Yeah, so we did have a couple of problems with our payment channel. We just reopened the Euro and British pound deposit withdrawals as of yesterday. So give it another try. Basically, the volume, our volume was too high. The number of transactions was too high, and our previous partner couldn't handle it. And we just changed that. Do you own a Tesla from Cryptographics AK? No, I don't own a Tesla. I don't own any car. So, but as I said, when Tesla wants to is willing to accept crypto for payments, I probably will buy one and give it to somebody who or maybe donate it to charity. So that's all the questions we collected from Twitter. There's a lot more questions, but we don't. I think a lot of the questions are either repeating or not following some of our guidelines. I'll probably have 5 or 10 more minutes here. I'll take some questions from the live chat. What about listing? What about new listings on your platform from Mariodo? We continue to look for projects to list on Binance.com, so that hasn't stopped. We're continuing. How old are you? I'm 41. Actually, I'm 42. I just turned my birthday not long ago. Security tokens on DEX. I don't. Okay, why is the app not on App Store? One of the questions asked by Camilio. So the Binance iOS app did get removed from the iOS App Store. We are working with Apple again to resolve the situation. There's some history behind it, and we actually don't have a lot of information on why it's removed. I guess this is very similar to a listing process that we run. We don't really know what's happening on the other side. But anybody who can help us in that regard, anybody who knows Apple really well, we are happy to get the help and getting our app listed on iOS App Store again. Are there any upcoming plans to support security tokens on Binance? We do have a security token license with our JV with Malta Stock Exchange. I think that's outside of the U.S. That's probably as legit a securities license as you can get. But we don't really know what to do with it just yet. We're waiting to clarify what we can or cannot do with it. So we'll see. Somebody can help with Apple listing. Please tweet at me on Twitter, and then I will direct message you. Will there be fiat US availability deposit? Hold on, let me just pause the screen for a bit. It scrolls too quickly. So will there be fiat USD availability deposit to invest on Binance soon? I think we have a few channels already. We enabled through third-party partners like Simplex and Spend.com. Now you can deposit your credit card. Well, basically, you can use your credit card to buy crypto and deposit that directly onto Binance.com. But it's a two-step process, so we rely on partners. And we'll continue to add more fiat gateways. So that's one of the topics I said I may want to discuss. We are adding a number of fiat exchanges around the world, and that's still the plan for this year. And that's happening at a faster pace now. So so that's happening. What's holding back in the Singapore fiat exchange from Gautam Chugani? Oh, hey, buddy. So basically, we just got to work through it. There's so much more stuff we're doing. So we're just basically doing things step by step. But I think the Singapore fiat exchange will come online very soon. I'm hoping that will be in Q2 this year, but don't quote me on that. I said many weeks ago. So from Archie RCD, a fiat Canadian solution in place just yet. So if anyone has any banking channels they can provide in Canada, we'll be happy to work with them. What else is going on? Chugani said, big thumbs up, great. Tomo runs Singapore. We have good exposure and relationships in Singapore, but we're just working through it. JPM coin thoughts. So we did a research report on that. Can I use Binance? Why delisting? Okay, I explained that. So I'm not going to comment on any specific coins or projects. It just gets very messy when I do that. Okay, let me see if there's any more intelligent questions coming up. Your thoughts on community. So this is from Massini Parish. Your thoughts on community-backed. Your thoughts on community-backed up token price versus buy-sell volume that decides token coin price. I don't know what that question really means. All right, moving forward. How do we get a project without token working with BNB or BNB chain? From a Mintable app. I mean, basically, if you don't want to, if there's a project that does not want to issue their own token, we are more than welcome to use the Binance token into your ecosystem. And if you want to issue a token on Binance on the BNB chain, that's also okay too. Yeah, I don't know if there's any more to that question. Okay, things are scrolling way fast. Okay, so from Chugani again, where do you prioritize your personal time at work? So I spend roughly 10 to 20% of the time engaging with the community, basically on Twitter, mostly, and then I do have one-to-one chats with users as well. I spend maybe like 10 to 20% time with the product teams, just going over product priorities. I don't really review designs anymore. They just get on with it and they get it done very quickly. And then I spend the other times just doing random stuff. I'm a very much generalist now, so I don't really I'm not able to afford any specific time or a large amount of time on any single task. So many people make that misconception. They think I'm still in charge of everything. They come to me with, hey, I have a project I want to pitch you. That's much better if they go to Binance Labs, because I don't really look at projects. And other people come to me and say, hey, I have a partnership I want to talk to you about. I'm like, what is it about? And it's better to talk to somebody else who's in charge of that aspect. So I'm very much a generalist now. Yeah. Can trailing stop loss be implemented? So the OCOs, the one OCO order type will come probably in March, April timeframe. That's kind of that's in the works already. Trading stops and other things probably will follow that. Do you own the company? From Daring? So Binance is actually moving away from a company concept. Company is a virtual concept, right? How do you define a company? Is it by the piece of paper where you register, or is it by where your office is or where your bank account is? So Binance doesn't have a bank account, doesn't have an office. So we're moving away from the company concept. We're really just an organization or a community that's working together. And with the release of Binance DEX, that concept's going to become even more apparent, especially when the DEX takes off. So hopefully that will happen. Let's do more of these AMAs. So I'll try to do. I feel like the from A1. Yeah, I think the rough reasonable time frame to do this AMA's frequency is basically roughly a month or so. So I will collect whatever topics we need to discuss on a monthly basis and try to do this once every month or so, but don't hold me to it. It may be once every 2 months or so. Do you have any announcements for XRP? I think if I talk about XRP anymore, I'm going to become one of those XRP armies. So, on XRP, I do want to say something, which is it's a very typical example of where in our society as soon as there's any accusations against you, you're assumed guilty by many parties. I think people are aware that there is a lawsuit against XRP on whether they're security or not. Our judgment is they're not, and until they're proven they are. We listed them, and luckily we actually dragged other exchanges to list them. So that's good. That's a good thing. I think that's a very positive step towards our society. So that we don't just because there's a lawsuit doesn't mean they're guilty. So we apply our judgments there. And we're always very supportive of XRP. There's a lot of guys who complain it's overly centralized, etc. But look, the markets vote with their feet, as I say. And XRP is one of the largest market cap coins, and it's like that for a reason. So yeah, I'll stop commenting about XRP. I think the time's almost up. My next meeting is gonna start very, very soon. So I think I'll wrap it up here. Thank you so much for attending, and let's hope to do this once every month or so. All right, thank you so much, guys.